just a simple question that what is the future, right? So we just want to share that in our use case or in our perfect world, because we are heading to our very interesting project, which is the newborn sequencing vaults, right? So this is the genetic data coming from newborns or babies. So we think that if we enable parents to sequence the DNA from the babies and then be able to build a family vault that will allow to share the data with specialists and AIs, right? AIs specialized in genomic and healthcare analysis, like BioGPT, then we have created a good tool for families and physicians and all their team looking for answers.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Engatica interview series. I'm your host, Kimberly, and we're really glad to have you join us today. We have with us a very special guest. We have Daniel Uribe, the co-founder and CEO of Genobank IO on the show. A very warm welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor for me to be here and to address to all the audience that is participating in this program.
Awesome. So before we dive into a crazy interview with Daniel, where we're going to talk about privacy, personal data, and all of that, let me tell you what the Engatica series is all about. The Engatica interview series is the powerhouse of insights from industry experts and influencers from around the world. A platform that provides the latest news on AI, automation, and technologies that will help you grow your business. Come be a part of our community where we learn, share, and grow together. Well, diving into my first question for you, Daniel, and before with a lot of another thing just to keep our audience waiting, the first question to you is, how is blockchain being used to tackle privacy and personal data protection?
Thank you very much. I believe this is the core of what we do. So just as an intro, we have been like using blockchain technology since 2018 to fund our company that is called Genobank. So Genobank, its core is how can you enable patients or users to interact with a genetic testing company or a clinical laboratory, obtain information from a human biosample, let's say your saliva or blood or whatever, and have all the information, all the digital information coming from your biosample as a bioasset, right? Is something, or in simple terms, is how can you own and control the data that laboratories produce with your samples, right? That's basically the idea. Because back to your question, for us, the main component of privacy is control, not necessarily secrecy. This is more for, let's say, patents or very secretive information, let's say military or very highly confidential information. In general, healthcare data it should not be a secret, because patients have a natural desire to share their information, because we want to find cures, we want to find help, we want to find the best researcher, the best doctor available. But we want to know that the person who is accessing our information is the correct one, that has the same alignment to help me. In other words, we want just to avoid the data brokers. Like, for instance, data brokers do not have, in our opinion, the same, let's say, alignment in terms of what they do with the patients, right? Because patients or users want to have insights or cures or whatever. Data brokers, the only one thing they want to do is to earn money exploiting data, right? So basically, the whole thing is about privacy is to be able to select who can access your information, for what period of time, and what is the dosage or the specific data that you want to share, right? So everything is about to empower consent. with this, I can finish the sentence. So the maximum power, or the maximum, let's say the best available right from an individual is consent, and we empower that with the what we call a consent NFT. So we can talk a little bit later about that, but basically that's the idea.
Awesome. This was really very insightful, Daniel. Diving on to my next question is, you spoke about how blockchain came into use since 2018. Could you explain to us the concept of decentralization in blockchain and its implications?
Of course. So the main or one of the main features of blockchains is that they are decentralized in terms of governance, right? This means that usually there is no central authority that can decide what to do with the data. The innovation that blockchains are bringing to the computational world is that they are segregated in different nodes. For instance, the most decentralized network that we have as humanity is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has more than 550,000 nodes so far in more than 190 countries.
Correct.
So it's decentralized because you would need to have 51% control of the network in order to try. This doesn't mean that you'll succeed, but in order to try to control. So the probability that one single entity will be able to control 50% of the nodes, that is 250,000 of these nodes by one institution, one authority, is very, very near to zero, right? Because it's too much to ask. It's like again, we come to the world where we had just to attack one central database instead of attacking a database that is distributed in 550,000 nodes. So again, this is the concept of decentralization. There obviously is a spectrum, right? Nothing is full decentralized. There are some things, like for instance in the blockchain, in the Bitcoin, even the DNS, the domain name services, are still centralized and such and such. So this is an ongoing conversation, but this is basically what we want now. What is the human need that decentralization is solving? Is, again, control. Is the internet today, as we know it, is more like a corporate internet, right? More than 87% of all the traffic from internet usually goes through 5 companies, right? Or their subsidiaries, which is Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon, and so on and so forth. So it's a corporate internet. So it's really, really centralized today. So this new movement that, well, it's not that new, it has 10 years now, or a little bit more than 10 years, is looking to decentralize, to give power to the user again, right? So this is the movement, is slowly taking place, but it's a consequence of the highly centralized internet, or the corporate internet that we have today, where all the companies are hoarding our data and make it they are leveraging, they are exploiting it, and somehow that world is not obviously working very well.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel. You really broken it down and explained it in the most simplified way ever. Can you also discuss the concept of interoperability between different blockchain networks and NFTs?
Thank you. That's a very interesting topic. There is a lot of people that is in favor of having or using, let's say, different networks and have interoperability or bridges among them. There is the other group of people that will say, hey, it doesn't make sense to have bridges because it expands the area of attack of cyber attacks, right? So the discussion is ongoing. there's proof that the breaches have been breached, right? There've been attacks, successful attack between the breaches among blockchains, and there's a not very secure way to start. Like, for instance, having, let's say, Bitcoin, the main idea is to interoperate maybe with Ethereum, and what you want to do is to block the Bitcoin in the Bitcoin network, but be controlled with a token on Ethereum, right? So you are interacting with it. The problem again is that these bridges have been exploited, and someone had like access to the Bitcoin without really activating the proper mechanism. So again, this is a very new, or kind of a new topic. Personally, I do not recommend it. I think it's better to have one source of truth, as long as the blockchain is have a very good degree of decentralization, like Bitcoin, like Ethereum. We personally use Avalanche. We think that Avalanche has a decent degree of decentralization and a decent number of nodes. Well, you should stick to that. And then, as you were saying, very interesting at the end, but what about the NFTs, right? The NFTs are these certificates, unique certificates, that you would like them to have on any chain, right? So if I buy an NFT on Ethereum, I would love to have that same kind of ownership testimony on Avalanche or in Bitcoin and whatsoever, right? So yes, I understand that, but again, I think that just by doing that, you are increasing the area of attack instead of securing your asset in just one network. That is basically, in my opinion, enough, right? It's just one blockchain to have the attestation of your ownership in one blockchain for us would be enough. But again, this is an ongoing conversation. Like all the opinions right now are welcome and still working, but I think the future, said by Vitaly Buterin, the author of Ethereum, it says the future is like multi-chain, right? Not necessarily cross-chain, right? Which the cross-chain will imply, again, the use of bridges, and multi-chain means, hey, I can do certain transactions on different chains, but not necessarily create bridges among them.
Correct. Thank you so much, Daniel, for sharing these. In fact, your personal opinions and your personal understanding on these concepts. Can you also talk to us about the role of tokenization in blockchain and its impact on traditional genomic and healthcare systems?
Of course, that's again very, very intimate of what we do. So the main problem that we're tackling again is that healthcare systems today are basically managing diseases, right? They are not really managing health. They are not healthcare providers. They are disease management systems, which means is that the system today will wait until the patient manifests illness or a disease in order to activate something, action, right? A cure or whatever. So that's the problem number one. The problem number two is when that happens, all the information about the patient is owned and controlled by the hospital, by the physician, by everyone else except the patient, right? So now we have the data privacy laws that will grant you so four basic rights. It's the right to know what information the third party has from you, the right to edit or correct your information, the right to consent, and the right for erasure, right? In terms of the healthcare and genomic data, not necessarily is possible because some of the institutions might argue that they need your data for 10 years, 15 years, 20, or permanently because they need to comply with certain regulations. So not necessarily for patients is possible to ask for data erasure. Again, it's a centralized system that is not controlled or governed by the patient, right? That means that the incentives or the alignment of incentives are not necessarily in favor of the patients. So blockchains, again, bring the opportunity for the patient to own and control their information. Or if we're talking about a minor, right, children, then the parents will be able to control the information about their kids. And this changes the complete landscape because now the patient owns and controls the data. They decide which researchers, which physicians, and they are just opening access or temporary access to their information. They will be able to receive services, healthcare services, or genomic interpretation services, or whatever they require, and then just close the relationship, close the access to their data. And at least in Genobank, we do that, what we call the genobolts. So our genobolts controlled by bio NFTs, the NFTs will give you access and consent to see the patient's data, but these tokens can be revoked according to the data laws or to the data privacy laws on every country. They are programmable privacy laws or privacy rights based on smart contracts. So again, this is the game changer. We think that the future is not necessarily obviously decentralized as well. The patients will not necessarily be in complete control, but it's going to be a hybrid system where some hospitals will be trusted by your family, by you. They will have a copy of your information, but in the end, you will now be able to have also your vault, your family vault, and then even inherit your data for future generations, because healthcare today is not taking advantage of the information that was gathered for my father or my mother. Usually it's even a different physician, and that's simply wrong, because all the information about our genetics, our healthcare is useful for us, for our kids and future generations. And this is also something that needs to happen.
Yes, thank you so much. It was really insightful. Can you also throw light on the regulatory challenges facing in the adoption of blockchain technology and how it is being addressed?
Certainly. So this is a very also dear topic to me, because at the end of the day, we think that now we are using blockchain to program or to customize the smart contracts based on the local, let's say, data privacy laws, right? So we have frameworks for the European GDPR. We have frameworks for the Californian Consumer Privacy Act. We have frameworks to all, and it's customizable, right? So again, blockchain can be used to enforce, to digitally enforce whatever the regulations might say or might dictate, right? And the regulations are also coming from AI, right? For these artificial intelligence emerging systems like ChatGPT, like BioGPT. So everything right now is very, very important in terms of 7 things in terms of the data. These 7 things really quickly is you can prove consent, right? Prove consent of where the data is obtained. Prove provenance, right? What is the from, like, for instance, I have the kit here, right? So this is the provenance, this is the genesis of the data, is your biosample or my biosample, then which laboratory, which machine, and so on and so forth. So that's all the chain of custody of the data. That's important. Then you have expiration dates. That would be the third. So is this data permanent or it expires, right? You have proof of commercial agreements, right? If you have the right to do some patents with my data, right? So that's the commercial agreement. Then you need to prove that it's unbiased, right? That it will not discriminate individuals or minorities. So that's another very important things for even for blockchain or AI.
Right.
Then you have scientific evidence that this is bringing really good results, and so on and so forth. So we can talk a lot about the regulations. The important part for blockchain is that it's a fantastic tool for programming these rules that are basically in the laws. So we are transforming the Roman contracts into Ricardian contracts. And a Ricardian contract is not only on paper, now you can code it into computer software, so you can obviously enforce the paper or the legal world with the digital world. And this again is an excellent question, and that's exactly what we do with bio-NFTs. Bio-NFTs are access/consent/ expiration NFTs, right? For biosamples. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Daniel. This was indeed a very insightful, very informative conversation. Before we wrap up, are there any other questions that you would like to share with our audience?
So basically, just a simple question that what is the future, right? So we just want to share that in our use case or in our perfect world, because we are heading to our very interesting project, which is the newborn sequencing vaults, right? So this is the genetic data coming from newborns or babies. So we think that if we enable parents to sequence the DNA from the babies and then be able to build a family vault that will allow to share the data with specialists and AIs, right? AIs specialized in genomic and healthcare analysis, like BioGPT, then we have created a good tool for families and physicians and all their team looking for answers specifically on rare diseases. So it's not more like a question, it's more like where's the future's going. It's like basically parents, we would love to see them chatting with this AI saying, hey, please help me to understand if this disease that is manifesting in the electronic health record of my baby is related to a mutation. And if it is, please bring me a report so they can chat or connect with other specialists like genetic counselors, geneticists, and so on and so forth. So this assistance will be part of the future.
Thank you so much, Daniel. This was an amazing interview. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Thank you so much for even simplifying these difficult concepts and helping us understand what really is going on in the healthcare industry and how Genobank and you yourself is really helping change the way we look at what was already existing. So thank you so much, Daniel.
No, thank you very much. I really enjoy the conversation as well. And please, if somebody would like to contact me, I am at daniel@genobank.io or on Twitter, on LinkedIn. You can look for Daniel Uribe and bio-NFTs usually, and you will certainly find me. I am very grateful for the opportunity and hopefully see you in the next opportunity.
Yes, definitely. For more content, subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon so you get access to exclusive content coming from thought leaders from around the globe. We'll see you in the new episode, so stay tuned.